recorded. Emmanuel?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Emmanuel. I'm new to Toastmasters. I wanted to try it out because I'm starting my semester at school soon, and it's just nice to meet all of you.
Do you can you flip on your video just to say hello, or?
Oh yeah, sure. Let me just navigate.
There you are.
Welcome.
Hi.
And how did you hear about us?
I was actually talking to a professor, and they were saying, "Oh, Toastmasters is really good at helping with public speaking." So I wanted to check it out.
And how did you find us?
I'm actually in Harlem, so it's very close by.
Okay, we've got a physical presence there, so we've just been meeting absolutely virtually. So that's welcome. So. Okay, so as you can, for those of you that are new, we have the chat where you can post comments to the group or to see dialogue that's going on. And let's see, Bathsheba, I presume you can't hear. Okay. Did I miss any guests? No, I think we got everyone. So before we start, we're going to just go over a couple. Can you hear me, Bathsheba?
I can finally hear you.
Yay!
Oh my
goodness. And we can hear you.
Okay. What a saga.
Okay. So Bathsheba, I guess we just kind of flipped the order. I just, since presuming you didn't hear me, we just met our guests, Manuel, Beth, and Gus. And if you want to just say a couple of words as the presiding officer.
Sure, absolutely. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome, honored guests. I am super excited to be the presiding officer of today's meeting. What does that mean? Today, I actually have the highest level of being an officer at this meeting. That means nothing because in this particular club, we are all equal. I'm very excited to see that there is a full plate here. I see two people that I don't recognize. If you are not a guest, if you've been here before, you're a guest to me. I'm going to say hello and welcome. I see Dorcas Garcia and Emmanuel A. Welcome to TIC Toastmasters Club. I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster for the day, Zachary Auslander. Go ahead, Zach.
Awesome. Yes, thank you, Bathsheba. So Bathsheba is the VP of Education, very senior position, and I'm the Toastmaster, the MC. So that means I'm here to entertain you. If it was in presence, you could use a cane to yank me out if I'm not being funny, but you can't do that virtually. And we're going to start with the rules for the meeting. We have a timer. And Giuseppe, I presume that you are the timer. Do you want to just explain a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm the timer for tonight. And actually, I'm not the timer. It's that guy called Mr. Timer. So those that they are going to a speech, please pin Mr. Timer because there you will see what's the time for your speech. So let's start the example how a timer works. And let me see what's going on. Something's happening. Technicals sometimes drives us nuts. Why we have so many technicalities?
Giuseppe, do you want me to come back?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. And we also have a very special guest as our counter, Marissa Chet. Marissa, do
Okay.
you want to talk about that, being the odd
Sure.
count?
Hi, everybody. I'm actually a relatively new member, so I will read what the odd counter does. First off, good evening, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Welcome. The purpose of the odd counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen for filler sounds, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase, such as I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker uses these expressions. Thank you. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marissa. And for those of you that are new, this is meant to help us improve our speech because we're all not perfect, and we're always learning. And you'll get these reports at the end of the day, or at the end of the meeting. So Giuseppe, it looks like you made some progress there. Are you ready? You want to give it a whirl?
Yes, let's give it a roll. So we have different types of speeches. One for tonight, it's going to be 18 to 22 minutes. I hope it's really entertaining. If not, we're just going to grab the virtual cane and pull her out. We have a fantastic icebreaker for tonight, which is going to be 4 to 6 minutes. For that case, at the 4 minute, it's going to be green. The timer will hit 4 minutes and it will go to green. And then 5 minutes, it will go to yellow. And 6 minutes, it will go to red. That means time to wrap up. If not, we are going to have the virtual cane and pull you out. And for the 18 to 22 minutes, I don't know how that's going to be. We're going to have to figure out that part. So as I mentioned to the speakers, we have to put the timer pin it. Another detail that I want to mention is we have table topics. Table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. And you have 1 minute green, 1.5 yellow, 2 minutes red. And we move on. Evaluations, 2 to 3 minutes. That's all. Back to you, Mr. Toastmasters, for tonight.
Giuseppe, can you, maybe I missed this, but can you just show the changing of the colors,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
please?
Since showing there?
I'm not seeing anything. So
No, I don't see it. Neither do I. I don't know what's going on with this timer tonight. So I definitely gonna have to go for the cards.
okay.
All
Now,
right.
does the timer? Okay, so the timer itself isn't working as well, correct?
Seems like it's not working
Okay.
as well as it should be.
Okay, so if that changes, just let me know. So a question for Bathsheba for the agenda. Do we have a word master, joke master? Okay, you mute. You're mute. You're mute. You're mute. Please unmute.
Double muted. I am double muted. Okay, we did not, but we can. We can use the word exhilarate. I don't have a meaning for exhilarate, so I'm thinking off the cuff of my head right now. Pick a word. I'm so sorry. I'm just this whole trying to get in. But we are Toastmasters. It is okay. We are going to woosah. We are going to say the word of the day is celebrate. I'm going to put the word in a sentence. Recently, TIC Toastmasters Club celebrated. We had a celebration in New York for our 21st anniversary. Celebrate. I'm going to ask everyone if they could, when it's your turn to speak, whether you're a prepared speaker or you're doing table topics, if you can be reminded to use the word celebrate or celebration, either one. And my bad, Beth, I didn't see you there. Welcome. Welcome. We don't always have technical difficulties. This is just one of those days. You know, when things happen, they all spill. But guess what? We're Toastmasters. We're just going to keep going. Back to you, Zach.
Thank you. And honestly, it's really not such a big deal since we're all on Zoom. And I don't think anyone's been on a perfect Zoom meeting. If they have, let me know. And I don't know, I'll enter that universe or something like that. I think that's possible. So, oh yeah, speech tip of the day. I guess anyone have a Bathsheba? I presume we don't have that.
No, I took that off. I took that off the menu. However, if you want to give a speech tip of the day, you know what? I would ask Lois, because Lois is one of the greatest speakers here. She's a DTM over and over. Do you have a speech tip that you'd like to share with the club?
Sure, of course. Speech tip of the day today, the most important thing is to get to know your audience. What do they know? To try to reference things that the audience knows. This way they can feel like you're talking to them. That is one speech tip of the day. Let's see if I can do it in my speech. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
That's one of the words of wisdom, the nuggets of wisdom that we should take with us from this meeting. And on that note, we are going to go to our first speaker.
You missed a roll.
I'm sorry?
You missed a roll.
Oh, okay, remind me, which role I did? Counter?
Okay, good evening. I will be the table topic master, and table topics, it's the portion of the...
Francisco.
No introduction?
I'll do that later.
Not yet, I know. So I want everyone to understand today is Francisco's very first time being table topics master. Woo-hoo! We are very excited for him. He's anxious, but we're not ready for you yet. We're not ready for you yet. We need to go through the prepared speakers. You're okay. You're ready.
Yeah,
we're ready for you.
The normal protocol is we go over the odd counter and the timer beforehand. But you'll get your we'll go over that in depth once you spend that time going over the table topics. Good to hear that we're ready to celebrate the table topics. So the first speech, so if you're not speaking at this point, if you could just go on mute. Thank you. And our first speech is Vishesh. And let's just see, who is...
I am Vishesh's evaluator. I'm going to give the objectives of his speech right now. We are super excited for Vishesh today because he's giving an icebreaker. An icebreaker is your very first Toastmasters speech. It's a short speech. It's 4 to 6 minutes. It's basically about yourself, any topic that you want to speak about. The purpose of this project is for the member, Vishesh, to introduce himself to the club and to learn the basic structure of a public speech. I'm going to turn it back to our Toastmaster, Zachary Auslander, to introduce Vishesh.
So, Vishesh, are you ready to begin? You're on mute, so if you just unmute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Ready?
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. So, okay. So whenever you're ready to begin, just go ahead and just keep an eye on the timer.
Perfect. I cannot see Mr. Timer in the window, so.
Mr. Timer died, so you're gonna have to look at me. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So how is it going to be? How are you going to indicate?
Let me show you how I will indicate. Sorry, I need to indicate green, the yellow, and the red.
Perfect. Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Giuseppe. Okay, so let me get started.
Whenever you are ready, okay?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thank you, Toastmaster, for introducing me. Today, my path is persuasive influence. I'm level 1, trying to get the icebreaker. So, the icebreaker, what comes to my mind as soon as I say icebreaker? It's ice and breaker. Not a good combination, right? Water and breaker, it can create a short circuit. And what happens? Plug. So this was something similar, a state of my mind when I heard about icebreaker and I need to give this message today. But let me get started. So the best thing is how to tell about the icebreaker is start with tell me about yourself. So that's the topic that I'm going to speak about. And again, tell me about yourself. Where do I start? It's a long story that I have. How do I tell you about myself? It's a lot to it. But the safest thing that I think I can get started with is my name. My name is Vishesh Mongia. It's a noun, proper noun. And the meaning to my name is special. Vishesh means special. And more about myself, I'm born and brought up in India, moved to the US in 2018. It's been 3 years I've been here. Delhi is capital of India, and I moved here to the New York area. And I have been to New Jersey, Hartford, and I've also traveled to Texas and Florida. But I also look forward to traveling the other states over here in the US. Said so, I cannot be called Special Mongia. No, I'm still Vishesh Mongia. Going ahead, telling more about myself, I've been associated working with multiple organizations. Mizuho is one of the companies that I work with right now as an AVP of planning and project management. It's a Japanese investment firm. I'm also associated with other companies, and I'm also associated with Toastmasters. I'm as a BPM over here. So I'm taking care of the membership over here at Toastmasters. So these all have given me a lot of experience over the period of time, and I'll be more than happy to talk about it in a different session, of course. But in my time when I'm not hustling and bustling, what am I doing? So I'm traveling and exploring, playing a sport, gardening, tasting, and cooking, being entrepreneurial, right? So these are the things that really gives me a peace of mind that makes me confident and keeps me busy and allows me to pursue my hobbies, and it gives me a peace of mind and happiness, a kind of gratitude, of being thankful. Few of the things that I want to share that I explored was the Hudson Yards over this weekend. It's a very must go place. You should go and watch, and it's very beautiful, and explore the area. Newly built, definitely a good one. And in terms of food, I just made this burrito yesterday, and it seemed very tasty. It's a mushroom pea with avocado and some tomato sauce with it, and herbs, of course. But the best part of this burrito is the lime. The taste the limes give, right? It was awesome, and it definitely came from the idea of Giuseppe's speech last time. When you get lemons, you make lemonade. But I made burrito. So what fuels me up? So that's a good question, right? What makes me get going? I think it's the gratitude is one of the qualities that let me get going each day. Being thankful of an opportunity to live the next day is huge, right? So the story behind that really changed and built being thankfulness in my mind was back in my college, right, it was pouring cats and dogs. Usually on days like that, I ask my father to probably drive me to the college so that I can reach there safely. That was one of the days, and we were driving on the road. We were driving on the by roads just to avoid the traffic, and then all of a sudden, when I was looking at my book and back on the street, there was a car coming in front of us and started to slowly drift in front of us. And within seconds, there was a collision, bang, and we were standstill. We had a head-on collision, but we could survive. So after that incident, right, I was really having a gratitude of being thankful to my life that I have. So incidents like these let you know how important it is when you get saved by just mere luck, or I don't know, there's some energy that helps you save, right? So that's very grateful. And if gratitude had a color, if I had to pick a color, I would pick it white. Of course, white, to show with it the background, because white consists of spectrum of lights and it Vipcure, right? And it forms white. So I think I would pick white. That's all for my speech. Thank you so much for listening to me, and back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Vishesh. Giuseppe, if we could just put a minute on the timer for those to provide feedback to Vishesh. You can just put that in the chat.
Starting now. Time's up.
Okay. Thank you, Giuseppe. Our next speaker is Lois, Lynn, and we're going to hear briefly from her evaluator, Giuseppe. Giuseppe,
I'm ready.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Zach. All right, so Lois is going to talk to us about how to free ourselves from prediabetes. Wow, that's an interesting subject, and definitely Lois is the person to tell us how to free ourselves from prediabetes. She will be talking from the leadership development, prepare to speak professionally. Well, more professional than Lois, and it will be an 18 to 22 minutes. So with this saying, Lois, Lynn, free yourself from prediabetes.
Here we go. Can you see that?
Yes.
Mary is a friend of mine. After celebrating her 30th birthday, she went for a physical exam. And later that day, the physician's office called her and asked her to come back into the office to get her exam results. The doctor said that she had gained 10 pounds in the past year and that her blood sugar was high and that she has prediabetes. The doctor gave her a diet to follow, the American Diabetes Association diet, and said to also include 150 minutes of exercise in a week and see if this can help you to lose weight and get your blood sugar back to normal. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests, Mary was consumed by these thoughts because she was wondering about her family members who had also had this disease that went on to be diabetes, and they later succumbed to the what happens, the other diseases it causes. It's kind of a foundation disease that causes other diseases. She had relatives that died of heart attack and went on dialysis and had a pain in the toe and an infection in the toe that would never heal. And these things concerned her. So she wanted to know what is the best thing to do. And we're going to look at what the results of the prediabetes, the American Diabetes Association diet compared to other diets, and see what is the best mode of action for Mary so that she doesn't have to have the same outcome as her other relatives. We're going to review 3 research studies. There'll be a few takeaway quizzes in between each of the studies. Then there'll be a summary and some action item at the end. And we'll see what's the best, what should Mary do at the end. This first study is a comparison of the American Diabetes Association guidelines and a low-fat vegan diet for glycemic control. The percent carbohydrate, protein, and fat is about the same in both diets. What's different is the quality of the foods that are being chosen. Both groups had education about it, and they were on their own to make their own meals based on the education they received in this study. After 22 weeks, you can the A1C on the left is a measure of blood glucose after 3 months. So how stable is this person's blood sugar over a 3 months time? Not just one meal, but over 3 months. And the red color are the American Diabetes Association diet results, and the blue color are the low-fat vegan diet results. And because the American Diabetes Association diet allows for all kinds of foods, but if you want a certain food that is very high in, say, saturated fat, then you can only have a little bit of it, because too much, then it just kind of, the calories are out of whack, and it's just a high-fat diet instead of a basic diet with 20 to 30% fat. So, and also for alcohol, they were given the same suggestions, just one drink for women, 2 for men a day max, and they were asked to maintain the same body weight, and that was important so that both groups didn't lose weight, And so the big difference, so if you can see the red, we'll look at the results here. The red for the American Diabetes Association diet, they went down. The A1C level improved. But for the vegan diet, the A1C improved even more. And actually, the American Diabetes Association diet was not very easy to follow because people don't like to be limited by portion size and calories. Whereas in the low-fat vegan diet, there are certain foods you can eat, and for those foods, you can eat as much as you want, as long as they are these particular foods, which are plants. So vegans are plants. They eat whole plant foods, which are fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, which are beans, nuts, seeds, and yeah, those are the herbs and spices. So there you have one of the studies. And the takeaway message for this one is, if you have a choice between, so this is like a real live example, you would say to yourself after looking at those results, if you have a choice between testing your blood sugar every day because you still have high blood sugar, or you want to eat some more, so you just make your food as your medication, then if you have a vegetable stew, which would you prefer? To test your blood sugar all the time, or to taste a vegetable stew? Which would work for you? You can write it in the chat, and we can just see which one you prefer. I know which one I would prefer. But let's go on to the next study. This is something called the Adventist Health Study 2, and it is the Seventh-day Adventist is a church group located in Loma Linda, California. That's their headquarters, and they, as a church, recommend that their followers eat as the Bible recommends, which is mostly vegetarian, as much as possible. Within that, there are some variations across the people who participate in this. And in addition, they mostly have healthy habits. They don't smoke very much. They don't drink very much. They don't have much caffeine. They are healthier than the average population. And this study was across all of North America, Canada, and the US. And they compared the different diet patterns for each of the meal patterns. The vegan has absolutely no animal products. It's only the plants, legumes, whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. The lactose have that, plus dairy and eggs. The pescos have that, plus some fish. And the semi-vegetarians have a little bit of everything. And the non-vegetarians are like the standard American diet of what everybody would eat if they weren't regulating any of their food. And if you see, this is a very large study, which almost 100,000 people were followed for quite a while, several years. And something very interesting about this population also is that the American population has 13% Black African American race. But for this study, because it is so diverse with multiple races, and also it had twice as many Blacks, and usually the Blacks are underrepresented in studies, but in this Adventist Health study, there were 26.9% Blacks, so it is a little more than double the average population of blacks in the United States, which is wonderful because now they're being represented in a study. In terms of body weight, what they found is I want to first take your eyes to the bottom. If you look at the very bottom, you see the mean calories. It says 1894, 1899, 1937, 17, and 1890. So those are the number of average amount of calories that each of the different meal patterns ate each day. And so what you see there is they ate about the same amount of calories regardless of what meal pattern they decided that they wanted to follow. So there's something about the quality of the foods that are being eaten that determines if someone is of a normal body weight or becomes overweight. The one vegan panel here, the first one is under 25 body mass index. That's the height over weight squared. The vegans are the only ones who are of normal weight here, and all the others are a bit overweight. And if you look down here at the bottom too, the vegans can become obese, but their chance is a little less than 10%. While the non-vegetarians, the very last column, have 3 times that rate, 33.3% chance of becoming obese, which is even higher than overweight, which increases the chance of complications from any disease. For diabetes, the vegans, those who ate only plants, had a 78% chance of getting diabetes, of not getting diabetes, which is the greatest percentage of people who don't get diabetes of all the different meal patterns. And as you can see, the more meat that is added, the greater the chance of getting diabetes. So here's a quiz now. If you have a choice between giving up chicken wings or giving up a toe, which would you give up? Chicken wings or a toe? Because it is very possible over time that the complications lead to problems that don't heal far at the extremities because the circulation is weaker. You can write your answer in the chat if you like. See, these are real life problems that Mary or anyone else would have to ask themselves after they look at that information. Okay, here's the third study. This is a European study, and just like the other study, it's a large study, and there's a subgroup population of 65,000 people that they wanted to compare their meal pattern. They had 33,000, almost 34,000 meat eaters compared to different kinds of vegetarians. And these people came from the United Kingdom of various age groups and followed for quite a long time. For body weight, what we found is so the 25 and above is overweight. The meat eaters are the diamonds. They are the only ones that when they get to midlife, they just kind of fill out. And yeah, I know when I was, as soon as I hit 50, that was me. So I had to do something to change the trajectory. And all the others, they're lower. The body weight, height over weight, height over weight. Diabetes. For the Epic Oxford population, the meat eaters, so they're this number one here at the line, and they're like the standard. So compared to the meat eaters, how is everybody else doing? And anything less than 1 is protective. Eating less meat, eating some fish, eating all plants are all protective against diabetes. Here's our third quiz. If you have a choice between daily medication to control blood sugar or daily meal planning so that you can use your food as your medicine, which would you choose? The daily medication or the meal planning? This is a real decision because both of them take time and both of them have an impact. In summary, the more plant foods eaten, the greater chance of getting a healthy body weight. As you can see, the more plants, the healthier the body weight for the most part. You can see that. It's just like a trend. And the same with the blood sugar. The more plants, the more normal the blood sugar, the less chance of diabetes. And an action item for you is that I'll be creating a pilot program called Free Yourself from Prediabetes. And if you want an invitation to participate in the pilot program, you can put your name and email in the chat and I will send you an invitation. And right now, Mary is a little bit happier than she was before because she's learning that the more plants she eats, the healthier she can be. And she will see how to incorporate more plants into her daily meal patterns and listen to Hippocrates and let her food be her medicine. Mr. Toastmaster, or Madam Toastmaster, somebody's a Toastmaster. Zach.
Yes, it is me. Thank you. Thank you. That was a great speech. Fortunately, I ate before this, so I do not have to plan my meal this time. Now, continuing, let's give a minute timer to give feedback to Lois.
Or now.
We've been giving feedback all along. Now there's some more feedback.
Time's up.
So continuing with the agenda, the next part that we are veering into is the part that some people consider the most fun of the meeting. And it's so fun that he's ready to take it away. Francisco will be leading the table topics. Francisco, can you give an introduction and take it away?
Thank you, Toastmaster, for your presentation, for introduction, sorry. Fellow Toastmasters and this welcome new guests to our meetings. As you the guests don't know, but many of us do know, and we expect this session of the meeting because this is where those who do not have a prepared speech will have an opportunity to have at least 1 minute to practice their communication skills. I'm going to be today the table topic master, and I will be providing you some prompts that would allow you to practice communication skills. And this includes your ability to listen, to think, to organize, to speak, and present a coherent argument to answer the questions that I will be providing. As a table topic master, I will be feeding you some questions that I will be picked at random, and I will choose the individuals as by order of what I see. Thank you. So let's get going, okay? And I will start with my top left quadrant, and then I will proceed going clockwise. So, Mr. Auslander, you will have the honor to give us the answer to the first question, okay?
Okay, table topics master.
Okay, so question is, where do you find inspiration and why you find it there? Take it away, Kiddo.
Thank you, table topics master. That's an excellent question. The question is, where do I find inspiration? And I'm forgetting the second part of it.
And why that place provide that?
I find inspiration, thank you. I find inspiration and reasons for celebration in hearing other people's stories. I find that everyone has a story to tell, normally more than one. And I think that is one of the purposes of Toastmasters, is get to hear people's stories. And I always find it fascinating because just people surprise me with what they say, with what they've been through, hardships, obstacles that they've overcome. And when I hear that and not realizing it beforehand, it gives me perspective because I get to hear the person's attitude, which for overcoming something that I didn't know about is usually quite a surprise. To hear how someone adroitly has dealt with something and overcome an obstacle, made it a learning experience, or use it to their advantage. And that concludes my table topics. Back to you, table topics.
Thank you, Mr. Auslander, for your answer. And next, to my right hand, we have a special Vishesh Mongia, who will provide answer to the following question. What has been your greatest challenge that you have overcome, and what do you do to accomplish this?
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for that question. That's a very interesting and thought-provoking question. The challenge that I have faced that I've tried to overcome. So what comes on top of my head is the public speaking. The fear of public speaking is one of the challenges that I had, and I'm trying to overcome that. Stage fear was one of the things early on that I had that didn't allow me to speak in front of an audience. Few things as joining Toastmasters are the steps that I've taken to improve my public speaking and to overcome this challenge. Apart from that, having conversations with diverse group, initiating conversation is something that fuels this initiative of overcoming my challenge. And I look forward to building myself to a position that I can relay and convey my messages much more confidently among the group of people. And even for that instance, picking today's speech, my icebreaker speech, was something that I was hesitant, but I think I should be thankful to Bathsheba and the others over here in the group that really motivated me to do it today. Thank you, and back to you, Table Topic Master.
Mr. Vishesh Mongia, thanks for your answer to our question. And to proceed clockwise, I'm going to tap a guest, Mrs. Dorcas Garcia. And the question is, what was the last person to say I love you? And can you give us the context for that comment? Thank you.
The last person to say I love you was my mom in her deathbed. My mother died of COVID last year, and it was a very, very painful moment for me. And it was just hard for me to realize that I was not going to see her again. And my mother and I had a very feisty relationship. She did not know how to show affection. And right before she got ill with COVID, I went to see her in her apartment. And we sat in her living room, and it was so peaceful. So we had like half an hour that we just sat there in silence with each other. And it was really, really peaceful. And I think that at that moment, we kind of forgave each other. Or maybe it was a moment that we said, I love you to each other. That's the only thing that I can think of. I miss my mother terribly. And I hope I can celebrate seeing her again in another life. I don't know what the afterlife brings, but I do hope that I could see her again. Thank you.
Ms. Garcia, I appreciate your candid response to the prompt. Thank you so much. And I will proceed. Calling to place Mrs. Beth Murray. I understand that you're a guest, but this is your opportunity to give us a small little speech. And the question is what do you think is worthwhile to wait for?
The question is, what do I think is worthwhile waiting for? I guess I'm drawing a blank. And so I'd like to go back and answer the question regarding who was the last person to say I love you. And for me, it was my dad. And every Saturday, I call my parents. They live in Western New York, in the Buffalo area. And I really call them to stay in touch with them, obviously. But as my dad says, the reason I call and the reason I go home to visit them is just to check up on them. But he knows that's not really just the case. But every Saturday when I talk to my parents, I always spend a few minutes talking to my dad. He doesn't really like to be on the phone for very long. So he'll talk to me for a short while, and he always says, I love you. And then he quickly passes the phone off to my mom. And thank you, Table Topics Master.
Laura, Mrs. Murray, thank you for your candid answer as well. And continuing, we will proceed with Laura.
So if you can just if we can just pause it at that, because Shiva was just saying that just in terms of keeping up with the schedule. So I thought forgive me for just saying this out loud, but I just in the schedule I thought it said till 7:22, so I thought we had a little more time for it.
No, it's the GE starts the handoff at 7:18.
Okay,
So we had a long speech. Yes, it's okay. We had a long speech today, and that's fine. That took up some of the time that we normally have for table topics. But we want to keep in time with the agenda so that we can end on time. Because, you know, people schedule their time around this. So at this point, we should turn it over to the GE.
Okay.
Okay, so I will for today, I will conclude the session of table topics, and I'll hand it over to our Grandmaster.
Yeah, So just before that, if you can probably see the poll that Giuseppe put out for your favorite table topic speaker. So you want to just select that, and then and submit. And you can only vote once. Just no cheating. Okay, Giuseppe, has everyone filled that out? Okay, so we're going to hand this over now to the general evaluator, who is Bathsheba Cohen. Bathsheba.
Thank you very much. I am going to now. Thank you very much, Toastmaster. At this point, we are going to start our speech evaluations because we know our prepared speakers are waiting to hear what their evaluators have said. In this particular case, I am the evaluator for Vishesh, and I'm honored. I'm going to read my evaluation to you. Vishesh, in giving a speech so early in your Toastmasters journey, you excelled at giving a speech so early in your Toastmasters journey. I believe you're only a month in, and you really gave this icebreaker a lot of thought. Typically, I would not agree with slides in an icebreaker. However, you show proficiency in handling of the slides, and you were clear in your explanation for each. Your description of the dish was mouth-watering. You kept your eyes on the audience, and you did not read your speech. I smiled when you brought up the title of Giuseppe's speech from last week. Great job. You may want to work on timing. You went over the 6 minutes allotted on the icebreaker. Practice your speech and be sure you have someone to time you other than yourself. Also, you spoke about your father. At that point, you mumbled a little bit, and I lost it. The other thing that I want to ask you to do is the next speech, please stand up. When you are in a conference room, you will be standing up anyway. Get used to standing up when you give your speech. To challenge yourself. As in the meaning of your name, Vishesh, you are indeed special. Keep pushing yourself. You want to be a great speaker, and your enthusiasm is ridiculous. Not ridiculous, infectious. And I say that because we heard people that are in this audience, they're in awe of you. They're like, you just joined and you're already giving an icebreaker? Well, I'm going to tell you, for those of you that are in awe of Vishesh giving his icebreaker, he also joined as an officer. So indeed, your name means special, and today we celebrate you. That's it for me. Oh, I'm sorry. I am the GE. So back to me. Next, I would invite Giuseppe to give his evaluation of Lois Lynn's speech.
Thank you, Mr. and Miss G, for tonight. Actually, well, what I can say, Lois, you are an amazing speaker. So it's really hard to evaluate in these cases. But I have a couple things to indicate. It was a very long speech. Probably I will have saying first what was the meat, and then give us all of that. I will have to say that it was a very interesting speech. I really learned a lot, and you made it very relatable with the story of Mary. Very, very personal, very relatable, indicating all the story, and was really good. Next time, please add a little bit more of emotions, which it could help a little bit. More pauses. You did an excellent job with documenting all of that, and it really, that's what it changed it changed my mind. But like I indicated, if you give us all those 18 minutes of documentations, if at the beginning you can tell us a story of Mary and say, and this is the diet that she made her, and this is the reasons why, will have been more impactful at the moment. Then all the information will have been like backing up why that was the reason for. At the end was an excellent. And I really like the way that you present her again and how she changed with her diet and how she feels. So with that saying, thank you, Lois, and that's it. Thank you. Back to you, Miss G.
Apologies, I had put myself on mute. Okay, next up, I'm going to ask for Alzheimer's report from Giuseppe. Giuseppe, you're on mute.
Yes, I know. I'm mute. I'm actually looking for the timers report for tonight. I didn't find it. Sorry. Has to be. I keep it in my cell phone and it disappeared. All right. So yes, I have it here. So Vishesh, you had an icebreaker, really good icebreaker. Like it a lot, and actually you went to really you were actually no 6 minutes 30 seconds. So you're still in a good time. But those 30 seconds, as Bathsheba indicated, you could have saved it. Next time. Lois, you did an 18 to 22 minutes speech, and you actually did 18.55 seconds, which it was 18 minutes, 55 seconds. That's great. On the table topics, so we had Zach. Zach, you did 1 minute, 6 seconds. Great. The next person, it was Vishesh. Vishesh, you actually went over 2 minutes, 2:02. I don't know what happened. Dorcas, you did exactly 2 minutes. Beth, you did actually 1.45 seconds. That's it for tonight. Back to you.
Okay, thank you. Marsha. No, am I saying your name correctly? I always say it wrong. I don't know why. Marissa. Marissa, you are the counter. I'm going to ask you to give us your report.
Okay, it is Marissa. You did get it right after the first try.
I did.
That's fine. Okay, Bathsheba, I did not hear any extra words from you. I hope I was listening, but I didn't hear any. Zachary, Okay, I am going to add and because I think more people say than so that will be included in that. Zachary said 2 uhs, 1 and 2 so's. Giuseppe, 2 ands, 2 uhs, and 3 so's. Vishesh, 4 uhs, 2 4 so's. Lois, 2 ands, 1 2 and 2 so's. Francisco, 1 Beth, 4 ands, 2 uhs. And Dorcas, 1 3 and 1 like. All in all, I think very good.
Exactly. Thank you, Marissa. Very good, very
You're
good.
welcome.
At this point, I am going to give the general evaluators report unless, Giuseppe, are you ready with the person that won?
Yeah,
the table
I'm ready.
topics? Go ahead,
I'm ready.
tell us.
And well, it was a killer. Definite Dorcas Garcia. She won tonight.
Yeah,
Woo-hoo!
it was beautiful.
Congratulations, Dorcas.
It was a 9/9.
For very
Everybody
first
voted for
time.
her.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's a knockout of the park. Celebration. As the word master, as far as I know, there was only one person that said celebration, and that was Dorcas. So all the way around. Did I miss anybody?
Zach.
I missed
Zach
that.
said it.
I said it.
I missed that. Okay. Now I'm going to give my general evaluators report at this point. Zach, great job. I know that I asked you to step up as Toastmaster, and you just knocked it out the park. You did a wonderful job. We had technical difficulties, and as a great Toastmaster does, you just kept the party going. You did a great job all the way around. All of our guests were greeted, which is wonderful. That's what you're supposed to do in Toastmasters. We had 2 wonderful speakers. I'm going to take them separate. Even though I am not Lois's evaluator, I'll start with Vishesh. Vishesh, you knocked it out the park. Absolutely wonderful. I'm just so proud of you. You're just taking this bull by the horn, cat by the tail. You are just knocking it out. Lois, I don't know if anybody knows, Lois gives a speech at every meeting, almost every meeting. I don't know how she does it, but I commend you. And you know what? Just because Lois gives a speech at every meeting does not mean it's the same old speech. Lois takes her time and does this. I mean, today's speech was so, I put my name in a hat because what you had to share, I need to know. I must have it. Thank you very much for that. For our speech evaluators, Giuseppe, great job. You took Lois's speech apart. You gave her the information that she needed. I'll say for myself, I did the best that I could with the session's speech. I'm still in awe of the speech. Table topics. Our topics master, like Vishesh, is very new. I think this is Francisco's 2nd or 3rd meeting. And look at you, second meeting, look at that. First meeting, Francisco just raised his hand and was a table topic speaker.
Second
And
meeting
now
as a
here we
member.
are.
Second meeting as a
There we
member.
go.
He was a guest and became a member, and there he goes. He's going to be a shining star.
We are expecting great things from the 2 of you, okay? For Francisco, it was a very good table topic. I'm so sorry that we had to cut it short, but keep it. Keep the rest of them to present at another meeting. Not this next meeting, because we want you to take another role, a different role, as well as Vishesh. Next. Okay, our meeting was great. I thought it was wonderful. And for those guests that came today, please make sure that you come to the next meeting. I'm sorry, I got my baby in my hands. He's feeling jealous. This is Freddie. His name is Meowreese Frederick, and he sees me talking to other people, so gotta pet him a little bit. Anyway.
He must have
Great
seen
meeting.
Francisco's background, and he wanted to relate to the cats, Francisco's cats, too.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh.
Freddie, say hi. Okay. I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster, Zach. Why invite me? Zach, it's on you.
I'm sorry, I got distracted by the cats, so cats are distracting to me. So thank you very much, General Evaluator. And it was a really, really great meeting. It was great to have the guests and go through the speeches to hear everything. I'm not going to be recapping that, but it was a real joy to be emceeing this. And I'm going to hand the metaphorical gavel for those of you who have had meetings in person. There's normally a gavel that begins and ends the meeting. I'm going to hand that back to our presiding officer, who just happens to be someone you might know by the name of Bathsheba Cohen. You might have seen her this meeting. Bathsheba, take it away.
Just a few times. I want to piggyback on what Zach just said. You've seen me a few times in this meeting. Typically, we would like for people to step up and take a role. Take a role early. Take a role tonight. I actually got 2 people to commit to taking a role. I need you guys to step up. Our next meeting is September 1st. We should not be scrambling. We have enough people on this line to do this. I'm going to explain very briefly because I know we got to go. That timer role is so important. Why is it important? It shows you how to stay focused and give a speech within a time. The counter role, please don't feel bad about that role at all. That role is going to remind you of any type of speech patterns you have, any kind of words that you mispronounce, any kind of lip smacks. If you use the word so and, but, my favorite word is like. I use it a lot. I did not realize that until I became the Toastmaster. We also would like for the guest pack, because Dorcas, Beth,